that was one from Richie Valens, Bluebirds Over the Mountain, and I've got some guests in the studio to talk about a benefit that is coming to the Earl Saturday, October 4th. It's a Clashinista. They're a Clash cover band. They're going to be performing London Calling in its entirety, and it's a benefit for Raymond Walls. But first, I'd like to welcome some folks to the studio. I got Hannibal and Kevin and Mims in here. Hey guys.
Thank you.
Hey everybody.
I got a chance to see Clashinista at the Star Bar. I might have been your last performance.
It was
back in June.
But spot on. I mean, it's right there.
Thanks.
So, are you going to be? I mean, what is there that you learn about the Clash? Do you get a deeper understanding of the Clash every time you perform these shows, or are there little things here and there that you're like, we should change this, we should work on that?
The main thing we've learned this time around is that the last two sides of London Calling are extremely esoteric, and that's why most people don't cover those songs. So it shows the breadth of the Clash. You know, there's jazz and there's rockabilly. Everybody knows the rocker stuff, but at the end you got a lot of reggae and a bunch of stuff that is really interesting to do. So we're actually supplementing our band with 4 musicians come Saturday night.
Okay, so you got new folks coming in to sit in with you?
Well, we'll have people doing the horns, we'll have people doing the keyboards, and a guy doing percussion, because London Calling's full of horns and percussion and other items like that.
Awesome. Well, who's going to be sitting in? Anybody we might know?
A bunch of local musicians. Shane Pringle, who plays with some bands in town, like Grinder Nova. He's doing sax. Kendra Rainey, who's a musician in town, married to Blake Rainey of Blake Rainey and the Demons, doing trumpet. Andy Tegetoff, who's in some bands in town playing keyboards. And drummer extraordinaire Eric Kaczynski, who does a lot of blues band, but he's doing percussion and doing a fabulous job.
Yeah. And Mims, this isn't all you guys do. You guys are all involved in various music projects yourselves, right?
Well, sometimes Clashinista, outweighs the other projects just because we have so much fun doing it. We really do. This has become all of our number one projects. And
this was their second album, London Calling?
Third
album? Any stories behind the album at all? Like any unheard stories?
Oh, I mean, if you go online, you can hear all the stories. But it's a great album. They had finished the second album, which they did with Sandy Pearlman of Blue Oyster Cult. I Need More Cowbell fans. And they decided they wanted to go back and strip it down some. But they hired Guy Stevens, who produced the record, who was Mott the Hoople's producer, who Mick Jones was a huge fan of. But the rumor is Guy Stevens just worked them to death. Through the rumors are he threw ladders at them, he threw chairs at them to try to get their energy up. But he also put all this funny stuff that we're talking about, these fiber slaps and other percussion on there, that really gets the richness of that record to me, which moves them out of just being a punk rock band to basically a timeless rock and roll band.
A work of art. That guy, the producer, what was his name?
Guy Stevens.
Sounds kind of like a zany and less threatening Phil Spector.
Exactly. There was no guns involved, just furniture.
And speaking of local musicians who are going to be joining you, let's talk a little bit about the fact that this is a benefit for Raymond Walls. Raymond's a local musician who's been in several bands. We're going to listen to a track from his group Interstate after the interview, but he was at Jupiter Watts and Great Northern, and he had some pretty troubling spinal injury recently, correct?
That's right. I'm going to talk.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Ramon's been suffering from back injuries. He's a little bit older than us. He's been suffering from back problems for a while. He was a framer for most of his life, other than doing music. But he woke up one morning and literally could not walk. I mean, he could not get his legs to function, which must have been a really scary thing.
Yeah.
But they got him to the doctor and they found out that his degenerating discs had now basically, had created a cyst on his spine. So luckily, there's a surgery for it, and he's out, and he has regained his ability to walk. But he did not have insurance, and he has mounting medical bills, as you can imagine, for spinal surgery. So we were asked if we would consider doing this as a benefit, and we said definitely, of course, we'd be happy to. And his name's actually Ramon, because the opening act are called the Ramones, apostrophe S.
No E.
Right, play on his name. So, yes.
I've always called him Raymond.
Really?
He used to do a lot of framing for my mother.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, and he's an AM1690 listener.
Yes.
So that's how I know. He's a great framer and a real sweet guy.
Sweet
Yeah.
guy.
And I've gotten a chance to see Interstate play before, and it was really seemed like he was stepping into his own
Yeah.
with that group.
Great band.
So anybody who's been through back issues knows that how unimaginably painful. I've thrown out my back a couple times, and I can't imagine some of the words used in this are not comforting at all. So come out. It's only $7 at the door and ahead of time, and you're encouraged and well accepted to donate some more if you
Absolutely.
like. Anything? You guys got another album under the wings to cover next?
I think after we have this baby, we might look at the first two albums, the early stuff, and really just doing a major straight on punk rock set. So we're talking to clubs. We haven't decided where yet, but.
And this is Kevin that I'm speaking to. Kevin, are you the front? Are you?
Yeah, I am acting as Mick Jones.
Okay. Is it hard for you guys to? Do you kind of want to like live in that character all day long?
I wouldn't be at work right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind at all.
Yeah, I've got a cigarette behind my ear right now.
You guys could just be at the bar throwing ladders at each other.
Exactly.
Was this a long time coming thing, or had you guys always talked about Clash covering, or was it just kind of out of the blue?
No, we of course grew up listening to it at various levels. Of course, we were all big fans, and Hannibal in particular really had been talking about doing. He realized he wanted to play the London Calling album.
Okay.
He was actually born for this role.
Yeah, it's really his. He's done great at it. He's just meant for this. So, and just being a huge Clash fan myself, and so Hannibal and I kept talking about it, and of course Mims as well, and it was just a matter of finding the right drummer and timing and all that stuff. So, I mean, we've probably been talking about it 7-8 years or longer, maybe.
And you can tell watching you guys on stage. Yes, this is A+ Clash cover band. It's not lacking in any department.
Well,
Thank you.
It's really nice to go up there and it's you get to the best part about it is everybody has such a great time at the show. I mean, I think we probably would have only done a few shows and called it a day. It's fun. It's a hell of a lot of work to get these songs as tight as we do and put them on that matter of fashion. Considering we've got other bands we play with and so on and so forth, but everybody has such a great time with it. The people who come out to the shows and we have such a great time with it. It's as long as it's fun and everyone's enjoying it the same way.
At the show, I remember looking around, and you can kind of tell that lots of people are back in their teenage bedroom, fulfilling this fantasy of being in the Clash. And I think that's another cool thing about that, and cover bands in general, just being able to bring eras that have gone by in music back to life and give them back to people. So it's great. Folks, come down to the Earl this Saturday, October 4th. Doors are at 9 p.m. Clashinista performing London Calling. It's in its entirety. And I want to thank you guys for coming in today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So as we said, this is a benefit. We're going to play from the group Interstate. Raymond's group Interstate. Here's Fool.